The M4 Sherman tank was born out of necessity during World War II, when the United States recognized the urgent need for a reliable, mass-producible, and adaptable armored vehicle. Designed in 1941, the Sherman became the backbone of Allied armored forces. It was not the most powerful tank of the war, but its design philosophy focused on versatility, mobility, and ease of production. The US wanted a tank that could be transported easily, repaired quickly, and deployed in massive numbers across multiple theaters of war. With a 700 gun and a Continental R975 radial engine, the Sherman initially offered a balanced combination of firepower, protection, and speed. However, as the war intensified and enemy armor, especially German Tigers and Panthers, grew more formidable, the Sherman's limitations became evident. The evolution of the Sherman was therefore driven by battlefield challenges, forcing engineers and commanders to continuously improve its armor, weaponry, and survivability. Its adaptability turned it from a standard battle tank into a multi-role machine that could take on infantry, bunkers, and even heavier enemy armor with upgraded variants. The M4 Sherman's journey is a story of innovation under pressure and the will to survive in deadly combat. The M4 Sherman was not designed to be the strongest tank in direct combat, but rather the most reliable and efficient vehicle on the battlefield. American engineers emphasized standardization, which allowed thousands of tanks to be produced rapidly and repaired easily with interchangeable parts. Its high mobility came from a powerful, yet simple engine and a suspension system that handled rough terrain effectively. Compared to many European tanks, the Sherman was lighter and faster, making it ideal for offensive operations where maneuverability mattered more than armor thickness. Crews appreciated its internal layout, which provided decent visibility and enough space to operate efficiently under pressure. Another key advantage was its mechanical reliability, unlike German tanks, which often broke down due to complexity. The Sherman could keep running for extended periods with minimal maintenance. This reliability allowed Allied forces to maintain constant pressure on enemy lines, compensating for any individual weakness in armor or firepower. The Sherman was also designed with mass production in mind, meaning that replacements were always available. While early models struggled against superior German tanks, their numbers and dependability made them crucial for maintaining Allied momentum throughout the war. When the Sherman first entered combat in North Africa in 1942, it performed admirably against early German and Italian tanks. However, by 1943 and 1944, the battlefield had changed drastically. The introduction of the German Tiger and Panther tanks posed a serious threat to the Sherman. These enemy tanks had thicker armor and more powerful guns capable of destroying Shermans at long range, while the Sherman's 75 WWII gun often failed to penetrate German armor. As the Allies advanced through Italy and France, Sherman crews found themselves at a deadly disadvantage in head-on engagements. To survive, they had to rely on tactics like flanking maneuvers, coordinated attacks, and superior numbers. This phase of the war exposed the Sherman's main weaknesses: its thin armor and relatively weak firepower. But it also pushed Allied engineers to upgrade the design rapidly. New variants such as the M4A3 and M4A1 improved the engine and armor layout, while British engineers modified Shermans to create the famous Firefly variant with a 17-pounder gun. These improvements reflected the tank's ability to adapt to changing threats rather than being rendered obsolete by them. One of the most significant upgrades to the M4 Sherman came from the British, who developed the Sherman Firefly. This version replaced the original 75 WW2 gun with a powerful 17-pounder anti-tank gun capable of penetrating the thick armor of Tigers and Panthers. The modification required clever engineering, as the gun was much larger than the Sherman's turret was designed to handle. The radio had to be moved to the rear of the turret, and the gun's breech was rotated sideways to fit. Despite these challenges, the Firefly gave Allied tank crews a fighting chance against superior German tanks in Normandy and throughout Western Europe. Fireflies were often placed strategically within Sherman platoons so that at least one tank in every group could engage heavily armoured targets. The Firefly's success highlighted the Sherman's adaptability. It was a design that could evolve quickly to meet battlefield needs. This version also boosted morale among Allied troops, as they finally had a weapon that could go toe-to-toe with the best German armour. The Firefly proved that innovative engineering and battlefield necessity could transform a standard tank into a formidable hunter. Early Shermans were vulnerable to enemy fire due to their relatively thin armour, which could be easily penetrated by German anti-tank weapons. As the war progressed, engineers worked tirelessly to improve the Sherman's protection without sacrificing too much speed or reliability. Later models featured thicker frontal armour, redesigned turrets, and additional welded or cast armour plates for better durability. The addition of wet stowage for ammunition was another critical improvement. Early Shermans had a tendency to catch fire when hit, earning them the grim nickname Ronsons, because they always lit the first time. By relocating ammunition to water-protected racks, the chances of catastrophic explosions decreased dramatically. Crews also began adding improvised armour, such as sandbags, logs, and spare track links to strengthen weak points. These upgrades not only improved the Sherman's battlefield endurance, but also gave crews greater confidence in combat. While it could never match the raw armour of a Tiger, the Sherman's balanced approach to protection and mobility allowed it to remain effective and resilient across diverse battlefields, from the deserts of Africa to the forests of Europe. Mobility was one of the M4 Sherman's greatest advantages. Early versions used a Continental R975 radial engine, which was reliable but not ideal for long campaigns. As production continued, several new power plants were introduced, including the Ford GRA V8 engine, which provided better fuel efficiency and power. These upgrades gave the Sherman improved speed and range, essential for the fast-moving Allied offensives in Europe. The tank's suspension system, particularly the later HVSS, horizontal volute spring suspension, allowed smoother rides over rough terrain and increased weight capacity for additional armour. The HVSS also improved crew comfort and firing stability, enabling the Sherman to stay accurate while moving. Unlike many German tanks that required specialized fuel or constant maintenance, the Sherman could operate on standard gasoline and be repaired easily in the field. Its mechanical simplicity made it perfect for large-scale operations where reliability was more valuable than perfection. The improved mobility also meant that Shermans could outmaneuver heavier enemy tanks, attacking from the sides or rear where armour was thinner. This mobility-focused design philosophy ensured the Sherman remained tactically relevant even against superior foes. Perhaps the most decisive factor in the Sherman's survival was not its gun or armour, but its sheer numbers and logistical efficiency. The United States produced over 49 Zaros and Shermans, flooding the battlefields of Europe, Africa, and the Pacific. This overwhelming quantity ensured that the Allies could sustain heavy losses and still maintain armoured superiority. The Sherman was designed with mass production and interchangeability in mind. Factories across the US could produce parts that fit any Sherman model, simplifying repairs and supply chains. Crews could replace damaged tanks within days, while German forces struggled to maintain their complex and expensive machines. The ease of maintenance meant that the Sherman was almost always available when needed. This logistical power gave Allied commanders strategic flexibility, allowing for aggressive armoured thrusts and rapid exploitation of breakthroughs. The Sherman wasn't the best tank in one-on-one duels, but it was the best tank for winning a long, resource-driven war. Its presence on every front, from D-Day to the Pacific Islands, symbolized the industrial and organizational might of the Allies, proving that quantity, when paired with reliability, could triumph over technical superiority. The Sherman's adaptability was one of its most remarkable features. It served in nearly every environment imaginable: deserts, forests, mountains, and jungles. Engineers modified the design for specific conditions. Desert versions had special air filters. Pacific models were waterproofed for amphibious assaults, and winterized versions were fitted. Operations in Europe's harsh cold. Specialized variants also emerged, such as the Sherman Dozer, with a bulldozer blade for clearing obstacles, the Crab, equipped with flails to detonate mines, and the DD, a duplex drive amphibious Sherman used during the D-Day landings. This modular approach turned the Sherman from a simple tank into a multi-purpose battlefield tool capable of supporting infantry, clearing defenses, or leading assaults. The ability to customize the Sherman for each front made it invaluable to Allied operations, as no other tank of the time could fulfill so many roles effectively. The Sherman's success was not just in its combatability, but in its flexibility. It could be adapted, upgraded, and repurposed endlessly to meet the changing demands of war. After World War II, the Sherman continued to serve in dozens of countries around the world, proving its durability and timeless design. During the Korean War, Shermans once again faced modern threats, including Soviet-built T-34s. Yet they performed admirably with upgraded weapons and tactics. Many nations, including Israel, France, and India, continued to use modified Shermans well into the 1960s and 1970s. Israel's Super Sherman and M50 variants were especially notable, featuring modernized engines and high-velocity guns. The Sherman's post-war service demonstrated how a design built for mass production could evolve to meet future challenges. It became a platform for innovation and experimentation in armored warfare. The tank's widespread use also made it a training and testing ground for generations of tank crews worldwide. Even decades after its creation, the Sherman remained a symbol of Allied ingenuity and perseverance. Its long service life stands as proof that simplicity, adaptability, and reliability are often more valuable than raw power in the long term. The evolution of the M4 Sherman represents more than just technical upgrades. It reflects the story of resilience, innovation, and adaptation under the most extreme conditions. From its modest beginnings to its dominance across multiple battlefields, the Sherman became a living symbol of Allied determination, though often criticized for being outgunned or under-armored. Its design philosophy prioritized the realities of war: ease of repair, logistical efficiency, and the ability to evolve. Each battlefield challenge inspired new solutions, turning weaknesses into opportunities for improvement. Whether through the British Firefly conversion, improved armour systems, or new engines, the Sherman continually adapted to survive and thrive. Its success lay in the fact that it could be modified endlessly while remaining dependable and accessible. In the end, the M4 Sherman did more than just survive. It helped the Allies win the war and laid the foundation for future tank design. Its legacy continues to influence modern armoured warfare, reminding us that victory often belongs not to the strongest, but to the most adaptable.